This is Rebecca Dickerson, and I'm here with Nick Johnson, the owner of the Cookery in Durham, North Carolina. So first off, could you tell me a little bit about the Cookery and the idea behind it and why you started it?
Sure. The Cookery is a food business incubator, as well as an event space. And we opened about 2.5 years ago. We sort of face in two directions. We have the incubator portion of the business, which is helping food entrepreneurs to take their product to market and grow their business until they at some point outgrow our facility and move into a brick and mortar establishment of their own, which is not the trajectory for all of our membership, but for many of them that's the goal. And then the event venue, we also host events and food related events. Part of our mission is to connect people in the community with the local food scene. So we bring in, the last thing we did was a cheese fest where we brought in 14 local creameries and had the cheesemakers there set up and sell their cheese, and then invited the public to come in and meet the people making the cheese in the area and be able to buy cheese and sort of put faces and experience to the people that are making local food products.
What would you say the biggest challenges of in the restaurant industry or food industry are?
Well, our goal is to address some very specific challenges, which are mostly our barriers to entry. It's extraordinarily expensive to build a commercial kitchen, and it's extraordinarily expensive to operate it. Overhead is very high, and so unless you have access to, a lot of capital or credit to begin with, it's nearly impossible to open a restaurant. So our goal was to lower the risk threshold. Opening a food business is, I think, an inherently sort of, what's the word? It's not ridiculous, it's unreasonable. It's an unreasonable thing to do. It's very high risk. The vast majority of restaurants fail. It's very expensive, and it's really hard work. Our goal was to make it less risky so that you could try your idea, whether it was a specialty food product or a catering business or sort of a wide variety of things for which any saleable food good needs to be manufactured in a certified space. So we have a certified space here that people can use and get people access to that facility without their having to take on all of the debt and overhead and risk involved in opening up a dedicated facility for their small business. This way they can test the idea, get some feedback from the marketplace, perhaps adjust their concept, and then by the time they're taking on that risk, they've already established a presence in the marketplace, a following, a brand, some recognition, some credibility.
How would you say the Cookery and other food incubators benefit the community as a whole?
I think that we provide a springboard for folks who want to start a food business who otherwise couldn't. Our goal is to make the determining factor on whether you're going to be able to start and operate a successful business, whether you're making a great product and not whether you have a lot of money to begin with. So I think that broadens the availability of quality products, because people who would sort of be stuck working for someone else in someone else's business doing something else because they don't have the resources to open a business have an opportunity to do that. So I think it provides a service to them and an opportunity for them to use their hard work to leverage themselves into a business, sort of backwards from the way that most businesses, like food businesses, operate by plunking down a large chunk of capital, going into a great deal of debt, building a facility, and opening your doors. And so this is a way for people to do that kind of in reverse, open their doors for very little risk, very little money. Our goal is not to reduce the cost of operating a business, because we don't want people to build a model based on having subsidized kitchen space that once they leave the cookery won't function in the real marketplace because it's not realistic on what it actually costs to operate a kitchen. But you know, starting a business at the cookery and having that business fail is not as detrimental to your life in general as opening a full-blown restaurant and having it fail, you know, and declaring bankruptcy or all of those. It sort of it makes it somewhat more reasonable decision for entrepreneurs.
What have been your biggest success stories?
Big Spoon Roasters is a peanut butter company or nut butter company run by Mark. We actually knew him before. He used to work with Counterculture Coffee, and he sort of decided he wanted to go into the nut butter business and started here. He moved out probably 6 or 8 months ago, and his nut butters are available in stores like Dean and DeLuca across the country. He's been in a couple of different Martha Stewart magazines. He makes wonderful product, and it's widely available now in sort of boutique stores nationally. Monuts Donuts, the donut shop downtown, they started with us. The Parlor Ice Cream, they ran their truck from our kitchen for a while, and when they first started, and then now they have a brick and mortar place downtown.